Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast. I'm your host today, Darren McClymans, and we are here with the one, the only, the fabulous, the amazing, like always, Mr. Connor. Connor,
Hey,
how are
it's a
you?
lot of titles. Damn, thanks.
I know. I had to mix it up this week.
Yeah,
Connor, how are
appreciate
you?
it. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I've been hyped for this episode all week. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's a good topic.
craving to get back into some topics. It's been a crazy week for just
There's been
trailers coming out and
Yeah.
things people have said and teases, and the Super Bowl is coming up in a couple days for us, so there's a lot of trailers and
that
stuff
thing.
getting prepped. Yeah, that thing that we Americans love to talk about.
Love to watch and talk about.
Oh yeah, it's
So
also
it's the Super
Valentine.
Bowl episodes next week, right?
Oh, totally. We
Like
got
just about the game, like the big game.
And,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
mhm.
Cool.
And
Excited
it's
for it.
Valentine's Day week as well. Is that like a holiday that's like big for you guys, or is it kind of like an American thing?
It's a thing, but I wouldn't say it's big.
Yeah.
We know of it. We know it's happening.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like, man, like as a kid, like it's like one of like the biggest days of the year. Like you go to school, and you have
wow,
your
really?
parties, and we have parties and we give out cards and gifts and can't. It's massive, like when you're a kid,
Yeah.
and then you grow up, and it's like no one cares.
It's like we're over it. We did do the card stuff in school.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like once you get into like an adult, it kind of feels like something like when you're in a relationship, you have to do, because people say we have to give flowers and cards and candies to people we love. So I don't know, but I'm very excited to kind of talk about our favorite ships later on in the episode, because I feel like opposed to like some of the other things we talk about, like I think our lists are very different, and I feel like it brings us the opportunity to talk about maybe some shows on TV that we normally wouldn't talk about with just your MCU and just a basic Arrowverse and stuff like that. So I'm very excited to do that. We do have a lot of fun things to talk about today. A lot of news stories. I think 90% of the stream today is just gonna be news stories. Like I think there was like 11 news things that came out this week. It's like we gotta talk about all this.
It's sped up pretty fast, like news wise. Like I feel like January for the most part was pretty empty, and now it's just like nonstop.
Speeding up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Blockbuster season is coming up, and they gotta prepare. But I say let's jump right into things. YouTube, Barry White in the house. Barry White, how's it going today?
Barry?
Glad to have you here. Let's just jump into our first category. That didn't click it. Percy Jackson recently wrapped up this last week, and people have been slowly waiting. Hey, is this thing coming back for a second season, or is Disney canceling this one too? But Percy Jackson will return for season 2 at Disney Plus. I don't think we actually really talked about Percy Jackson much while it was airing. I talked a lot about it on my other show. Was this a show that you enjoyed at all? Are you happy at doing season 2?
I'm gonna finish it. I think about halfway through the first season.
Okay.
But like I paused like all my live shows so I could get the Star Trek rewatch out of the way. So it's like it's nothing against the show. I will get back to it. It's like everything was paused for me, but I thought it was solid enough. I feel like the first episode, I haven't read the books, so I didn't really know anything about it going in. And I haven't seen the movies either. But I feel like a little bit of exposition, too much exposition, kind of. But other than that, it was fun. I'm surprised they only renewed it now. Like it feels like it was a popular show. It feels like something that would get renewed like during the season. But
yeah, no, I definitely really enjoyed this show. I was having a good time with it. Not to get into spoiler stuff, like it was like the first 5, it was like I am 5 or 6. I was like, I'm really digging the show. This is a fun show. 7 is kind of where my like, I don't know, I kind of dipped a little bit for me, and I was like, I think it's stalling a little bit, but I do think it ultimately ended strong, and I had fun with it. And I'm glad it's getting a second season. I'll be more interested if it gets a third season, because they did 2 films, in which a season 1 has did the first film, season 2 is going to do the second film. So I'm really hoping they get. Yeah. There's like 5 books, and I think each season is going to adapt each of the books, just like the movies did. So I'm just hoping they get to book 3 for we can get a story that I've never seen before. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I might watch the movies before season 2 comes out.
Mm-hmm. Did you like them?
No, I might watch them before
you
season comes out. Yeah, I do want to though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you don't have to. I feel like you could just kind of like, I'll watch the show instead, Yeah. But
interesting.
Okay.
Season 1 was 10 episodes, was it?
It was 8. It was 8 episodes.
Okay.
I think
Oh,
season
then
2
I might be like almost done then. I might have gone to episode 6, maybe.
6. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like, and I think this is a show. Like I've said, I think it was a good show. I think season 1 was good, but I think it could have been better. Like I think with more seasons, you could only improve a show like this as time goes on, as we get more as these actors, because these actors I actually think are really, really talented. I think they're really growing into some good performers. I think the writing can only get better. I think these actors can only get better as you do more of these. So maybe maybe if season 1 was like, okay, that was fine. By season 5, I could see being like, this show's incredible. Like I'm loving what they're doing with the show. So I'm very excited to see kind of what we do here. Barry White said, need to add the show to my list of things to watch. Here, brother. I'm always adding things.
This is an insane year for TV. Like Apple's been releasing trailers for their TV shows this year, and all of them look amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've said for these last couple weeks, I think TV is kind of carrying the year. Like,
for sure.
There's still a lot of movies I'm very excited for, but TV I think is where it's at and where it's gonna really carry.
Yeah.
But speaking of films, my mom was so excited for this. The Moana TV series that was announced back 3-4 years ago is now a film and is releasing this November. Connor, this might be my favorite news I've seen.
Favorite news? Damn. It's switching it from a TV show into a movie is pretty interesting. Like sprung on it pretty fast. It's pretty.
I'm going to be very curious. So Moana is one of my all-time favorite films. I love Moana. It's one of my. It's the film. It's the movie that got me back into Disney. Like it came out in that very like middle schoolish kind of era where I was like, I'm too cool for Disney. I'm not as into that kind of stuff now. And this came out. I saw it in theaters. It was like one of my favorite experiences in like a cinema. And it really just kind of brought me back into that like world of Disney. And this kind of journey has been very interesting because like we were waiting. It came out back in 2016. There was no news. I was like, there should be a sequel to this. How it made a lot of money. People love this and they love this worldwide and their sequel. And then what was it back in 2020, 2021? They had announced this show, this like Moana series, along with the like Tiana show that's coming out this year, along with the like Zootopia Plus and the Baymax shorts. And those were all very exciting. And we had heard nothing like for like at least a year and a half. We're like, what's happening with these shows? Are they still coming out? Are they being made? What's happening with the? And then last year they announced the live action film.
I remember that, and I was like, huh, interesting.
With Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Now after the Black Adam situation. And we were like, is the show canceled now? Like, what are they doing with the series? Do they care? And the like people making the show were like, yeah, this show is still happening. Like, we're still making it. It's looking great. I was like, okay, that's good. At least I can watch the show and maybe not watch the movie. I'm not sure. And then this came out. This had to officially come out yesterday and said the series is no longer happening. We're getting a theatrical film instead. And they dropped the teaser, and beyond excited because I feel like we don't get this kind of stuff a lot where it's like no news about like we don't even know this is a thing, and they're like, hey, it's coming out this year. It's coming out in 9 months. Have fun. And it's just like, what?
I do like that when movies do that. Like it feels very video gamey where it's like we're not gonna tease this out for 4 or 5 years. Like it's coming out this year, sort of thing.
100%. Cool. And I think Disney's kind of been doing, and I think this is something Disney needs to do a lot more of. Like they did that with the Wakanda show last year, where it's like, hey, here's a new MC project, comes out in like less than a year. Here you go. It's like, oh my gosh, that's insane. And especially, I think that's kind of one of my main issues with the MCU currently, and not like the main issue, but I think a big issue they have is where they have this massive roster of movies and TV, and for each one we have to wait like 5-6 years for them to come out. Yeah. And by the time they come out, I'm exhausted talking about it. Like the Marvels we were talking about since Endgame. Like,
that's as well. It's like you want it to come out just to get it over with, and just so that you can talk about something else instead.
We can move on 100%. Yeah. I'm with that with Fantastic Four. I am exhausted, and they haven't even filmed. They haven't even cast. I mean, they may have casted. We just might not know it yet. But like, I don't know. I'm kind of exhausted with some of these. So I think
they kept saying they had a Fantastic Four cast like after the strikes. Yeah. Where is it?
Yeah, I'm very exhausted with Fantastic Four. But I getting back to this, I'm extremely excited. I think it's my new most anticipated of the year, either this or The Lion King. One of those two. Disney's on top for me this year, I guess. Have you seen the film? Are you like a fan of this world at all?
I watched the first one for the first time during COVID.
Oh yeah? Did you like it?
I liked it, yeah. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
The music was good.
Music very good. I'm a little concerned that Lynn isn't coming back to do the music at this round.
That is a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Lynn gets a lot of hate as far as like what he does and like him as like a performer. A lot of people don't like him, but like he always makes great Disney music. He almost always like Encanto and Mary Poppins and this and Hamilton isn't Disney, but it was on Disney and that got a lot of like everyone just loves the music he makes 9 times out of 10. I'm curious how, because I think that kind of what makes that movie the movie. Like it's a great movie.
It was my favorite part about it.
Yeah, like it has great characters, a great theme, a great like world, but the songs is what really stick you into this world a lot.
Which I wonder, does that mean if maybe the songs aren't going to be a big part of this second one? Like, have they said anything about that?
I assume, I mean, I think that they said the series was a musical.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, but like that's also the thing that I'm a little concerned about is that it was the series and now it's a movie. Like, are they literally just turning what the show was into a movie? They're clipping it down to a film. That's concerning. Or has this been the plan for a while and they were just keeping it a secret? Like the show was like a cover up for a movie kind of thing.
I would wonder if it's like, because one of the main problems with Disney Plus is that when they're making TV shows, they just make them as like long movies pretty much. I wonder if it's like this is part of that whole the thing with Marvel where they're kind of restructuring everything. It's like when they were making this TV show, they were like, there's not enough here for this to be a TV show. Like it would make more sense for us to do a movie, which is something Marvel should have been doing with some of their stuff already.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very curious. I mean, and also just based on that trailer, like that didn't look like a TV show. Like that looked like your Frozen 2 and your really high budget films that, if that was on like Disney Plus, I'd be like, holy shit, what, like what were they cooking? But yeah, no, I'm extremely excited. I'm so curious to see what they do. Just again, the fact that like they put the trailer out in like February, it's gonna be out in 9 months. Enjoy. There's also just a really good like stretch of like Disney because we have this in November and then The Lion King in December. That's gonna be like
wow, that's really
end of the year slam dunk. Yeah. So I'm excited. Do you have any final thoughts on this, or is this something that you're gonna view?
I'll probably see it when it's on Disney Plus. I'm probably not going to go to cinema to see it.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. Barry White said, "I wonder if they're going to do another Raya and the Last Dragon movie. I would love something else with Raya. I had a really, really good time with the first one. That was one of those peak COVID films. Like it came out like early 2021. It was one of my first films kind of like back in a cinema. And like I think it was on Disney Plus as well, but like with that like $21 thing that they were doing, like I had to go to another cinema because my current one was still closed because of COVID. So it didn't make a lot of money due to I would assume that being a big factor of it. I would love another one though. Like I think like I enjoyed it. I think my biggest issue was with it is that there was just not enough time to really flesh out what I think that they were going for. Like I think it would have made much more sense for like a TV show or something with them. So maybe they can give them a TV show and like flesh out those characters a bit more. And then maybe at some point do a sequel if they want. I don't know. Did you ever see it or no?
No, I'm gonna say no. See, a lot of those films I kind of watched together because they were all kind of hitting Disney Plus at the same time, but I'm pretty sure I never saw that one. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I'll get updated on all these movies at some point.
How dare you, Connor? No, that's me with half the things that you watch as well. So no hate there. Marvel. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to include this in our roundup of news to talk about because this feels like it was like Bob Iger has said this like 3 times by this point. Like he keeps mentioning, hey, we're not going to be doing as much with Marvel. Hey, we're going to be loosening back and only telling certain stories. But the whole reason I wanted to bring it up here because I think the phrasing of it was kind of interesting where he said, we will only be focusing on the stronger franchises. I think that phrasing is a bit different than only doing less projects or only picking select things. Like saying the stronger franchises does make me a bit concerned. That's about this whole thing, like in general, about him kind of loosening back on Marvel, only focusing on the stronger franchises. What's your kind of opinion on that?
I'll be worried. I think this may mean that whatever is doing well money-wise is what they're going to go forward with, which means like, films like Captain Marvel 3 or Shang-Chi 2 or I don't know, like these sort of franchises that we haven't really seen a whole lot of updates on their follow-ups yet. Does that mean that they're not going to get follow-ups now because Marvel's going to be like, well, Daredevil, Captain America 4, this is where we need to be looking now. Which I think one of the, like, yeah, people say Marvel's directionless after Endgame, but I think one of the strongest things about Marvel after Endgame is how diversified it is in terms of the content.
Yeah.
And how there really is something for everyone, where it's like in a world where they're focusing on their stronger franchises, that mean we're not going to get something like, I don't know, Miss Marvel. Like, Miss Marvel was one of the best TV shows that came out of Disney Plus's stuff. Does that mean we're not going to get more projects like that because they might not do as well? I don't know. It's weird. It is definitely worrying. I think I'm just not convinced in Marvel's future. I'm really excited for Born Again. I'm really excited for Captain America 4. But even that, Captain America 4 is having so many problems. Like,
I'm so concerned for Captain America 4. Every week there's like a new thing, and there's like boycotts going on with it, and I'm very nervous. Yeah, I mean, I think. Listen, I don't even blame Bob and the crew at Disney for going in this direction, right? There's very clear that Disney was going in a direction that wasn't working. They were losing money.
Yeah.
And if put my brain aside a CEO's brain, it's like, yeah, we are going to make movies based on things that are popular and cut what's not popular. Like, that makes sense. I understand that state of mind. I truly do. But I also think that from an artistic point of view, and not to say Phase 4 was all about its art, but like from an artistic point of view, only doing the most popular things ever, only doing the big franchises can be a bit concerning. When you look at some of my favorite MCU movies, freaking, like, with this mindset, Guardians never would have been made.
Yeah, it would never have been made.
Ant-Man never would have been made. Like, there's so many. I mean, again, you're like Miss Marvel and you're Kate Bishop. So many of my new favorite MCU characters, you know, say what you will about Phase 4, are from Phase 4. Like, I love Miss Marvel. I love your Kate Bishop. I love Shang-Chi. None of those would have happened with, under this mindset. And I was thinking about this a lot yesterday. I was thinking, I think they're already doing that. Look at going back to like the Disney stuff for a minute. Like, look at the current roster since he's come back. He's announced Toy Story 4, Frozen 3, Zootopia 2, Moana 2. Like, those are all projects that are going to make a lot of money. Guarantee, not to say like what their original stuff is coming out. I don't know what that, we haven't announced what's next on that side of things yet. But those are all things that are going to make money. I think Star Wars is doing something kind of similar since he's come back. We have that Daisy project. Those sequels, if you like it or not, they made a lot of money.
Yeah, they made a lot of money.
A Mando movie. Guess what? I think that will make a lot of money. Put Grogu on, and all the trailers, people will show up. So I think they're already doing that. Yeah. Now, with that being said, what do you think would be the priorities? Like what would you consider to be their strongest franchises currently?
I think we're going to see like they're going to get an Avengers 5 out no matter what. Like, even if it's if they have to push that out, they're going to get that out, because even if it's not good, an Avengers movie is going to make money, like whether it's rushed or not. I think a Captain America 4 will be very. I'm not sure how Captain America 4 is going to do, because I'm like, I really want it to do well, because I think, Sam is going to make a great Cap, but it's like, without a. It's almost a new franchise, because we've got a new face of that franchise, and how is that going to do? It's like, does that mean we get a Captain America 5 if Captain America 4 doesn't make the money they want it to make? I think they're just going to push through a lot of projects like that. It's like, going forward, it's going to look a lot like Phase 1 to 3 in terms of what the character movies are getting, even if they're not the same versions of the characters. We're going to be seeing like that. X-Men is going to be something they're going to probably really prioritize. But I saw somebody as well. I saw somebody as well say on Twitter that like, maybe Disney Plus just is not making the money Disney thought it was going to make, like the way Moana is being turned into a TV or into a movie from a TV show. Mando season 4 is now a movie, and we're seeing a lot less live action Marvel shows on the slate going forward. It's like, are they just completely restructuring their focus towards movies? And does focus on their stronger franchises mean they're just going to focus on the movie franchises more than the TV show franchises now? It's like, we got X-Men, Spider-Man, Black Panther, the Wakanda show,
Agatha is this year as well.
Agatha, and then Daredevil. Aren't those the only shows we have confirmed still
for this year?
I
think so.
And
maybe
like
zombies. What if maybe, because they've been showing a lot of photos and stuff like that. So
that is true. But I think my reading of it is maybe that they're just going to focus on movies. Like after this year, we'll see a lot less Disney Plus offerings from Marvel and from Disney in general.
But like, I 100% agree, and I don't think we're going to get any TV shows going forward that you're going to have to watch to understand the movies. I don't think that's ever going to happen again past these next couple years as we get your Ironheart and your stuff out. But like, that's why I think like your like Daredevil is a perfect TV show option. It's perfect because you can just have it connected to. It is set in the MCU, but have it on its own, completely separate. I know there's a current rumor going around, and I only saw the one thing, so like maybe it's complete BS. But like their strategy might be just bringing back a lot of the old TV shows, stuff for either like the 90s to 2000s, even like you're like Daredevil and stuff that has a fan base but doesn't connect to the other things.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think it'd be really cool if you did like an Earth's Mightiest Heroes and like bring them back for a couple seasons on like Disney Plus as something to do. Your like X-Men 97, I think is absolutely gorgeous. Like I think it's absolutely a brilliant idea to kind of bring in a whole new set of people. But guess what? It's not directly set in the MCU, so I think that's all very, very smart. You could do your Heroes for Hire. You could do an Agents of Sword if you really wanted, and bring all the Shield people over.
And it makes so much sense to do that. And they should have been doing that for the last 5 years. Like, just giving us follow-ups to those shows.
Would have been nice. Looking at chat real quick. Defunct in the house. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Barry White said the smaller projects have great fan bases too. They definitely do. I just don't know if it's big enough that I don't think it's as big as they want them to be. I'm trying to think. I think Black Panther will be one of them. Like I think that's something they still have a lot of faith in. I would not be shocked if Iron Wars got turned into like Iron Man 4 or 4 or something.
I could for sure see that.
Thunderbolts, I would love to turn into like a full-on franchise. Like I think it'd be really cool if they could get sequels and each movie is like a different set of villains or something. Like I think that'd be sick. I'm trying to think who else they could pull in and be maybe like a Scarlet Witch movie or something. I know she has a lot of fans. I think
that's pretty likely because Scarlet Witch is a pretty popular character.
I'll be very curious. Like
Doctor Strange 2 made a lot of money.
Doctor Strange is
Spider-Man as well. If they can get a Spider-Man 4 going, they'll kind of be set.
I also wouldn't be completely shocked if they did like a Daredevil film. Like if they give it would be pretty hype. I know Charlie at one point said he didn't want like a movie, like he wanted to stick with the show, but like I think it would make money. Like I think people would show up for it. So Red Arrow in the house. Give us X-Men. Yes, give us X. I'm so excited. We've been waiting for like 7 years. I'm tired. I want X-Men movies, man.
Bob Iger's watching this and is going to give it to Braden now just because he said that.
Hell yeah. I'm very excited now. I want, like, I think I have liked Phase 4 and 5, like for what they are, but like, there's a point of me that's kind of just patiently waiting for it to be over if we can get to like the X-Men Fantastic Four arcs. Like I'm so excited. Like it's just like, I mean, Avengers King Dynasty is still currently set for like 2026, which I was actually kind of shocked to see. I'm
so conflicted on it. Like I feel like it's gonna be a mess, right?
Yeah. I'm curious because I mean, I don't think it's gonna be called King Dynasty going forward. I think even if Kang is still the villain of that movie, they will not have him in the title. They may not even have this new actor as part of the like marketing of the film. It'll just be all the Avengers and they're fighting the like minions of Kang or something like that, and I would not be shocked if it's like a Secret Wars Part 1 type of thing.
I think it'll be like that. Like that was Infinity War was supposed to be Part 1 and Part 2, and then they changed it. Maybe they'll do the opposite here, where now it is like these will be a Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not in name, like even if it's not called like Secret Wars Part 1, in what its service is, it will be like a Part 1 and Part 2, and then it's called the second part, Secret Wars or whatever.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of years kind of leading up to that. I mean, it was supposed to come out next year, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Barry White said, "I'm still pushing for Daisy Johnson to show up in the
me too, buddy. Me
too.
I'm always pushing for that.
Where's our next project that we're going to be pushing for her to show up in? Secret Wars is over. The Marvels is over. What's our next
project? Whatever the next space project is, I feel like it's the one where people are going to be like, oh, Daisy's in it.
Yeah. Daredevil, come on.
I mean, yeah. Maybe he goes back to his orphanage and she's just there.
I would honestly say Secret Wars though. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of I think my next main push is like she gets a cameo in there. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's all canon, and then by the end of the movie, she's just there for some reason because they've all merged or something.
That'd be cool. I mean, I would not. That would kind of confirm that they're not in the main MCU though. So that'd be
which I wouldn't even care about at this point. Like I'm not even like. Obviously, it'd be great if they were canon, especially after all the like Daredevil stuff, and
yeah,
you know, it'd be great if they merged them in. But like, I'm also okay if they're just like, nah, they're on a different thing, and then we merge it in, and then we could do stuff with this version of Daisy going forward. Like, I'm fine with that personally.
Just to get some kind of acknowledgement at all would be pretty cool.
Yeah, just anything. Just bring them in any way, shape, or form. I'd be fine with.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's move on. Superman and Lois. I feel like this is the first piece of proper CW, like positive news. I guess not positive, but like proper fun news to talk about. That's not like a cancellation or a renewal we've had in a while.
Yeah,
I forgot what it was like to get Arrowverse type news. But Elizabeth Tulloch has talked about season 4. They're currently filming. We're seeing some of the actors come back to set. Sam is here, and the Irons are on set as well. That's all very hype. And she has teased that there are some deaths in Superman Lois season 4, and she cried while reading the script. Dang. Is this clickbait, or do you think she's real?
I mean, I would expect there to be some, just based off of. See, we're still not sure what they're doing with Doomsday, if it's going to be like skipped over or not. But like, I feel like for a season with the characters they're bringing in, like Lex Luthor and Doomsday, like deaths make sense for there to be. Depends on who. Depends on like now. Does this mean that, because we know some of the cast are only going to be in like 2 or 3 episodes each?
Yeah.
So does this mean that like they die, or like are we going to see like John Henry die or something like that?
I'd hate that. I really would. But yeah, I mean, I'm my first thought was that I think they're going to do some kind of pseudo version of Death of Superman. I don't think it's going to be the version people want. I think it's going to be like he's dead for 15 minutes and then comes back. But I think they might, in like the first episode, like he dies halfway through and he's back by the end of the episode type thing.
Yeah.
Just to give people some sort of Death of Superman story. Like they set it up, they like teed the ball, just hit it, and then just catch it really quickly and be like, okay, we have your cake and eat it too.
That's kind of it, because it's like, that's been the one thing everybody's been expecting since season 1, because they've been bringing in all of those characters, like John Henry for Steel. We've had the Eradicator, Tal-Rho being a character who was there for Death of Superman, and then like we have Jordan being Superboy. Like all the pieces are kind of there for it, and then they've kind of been skipping around. And then we thought Doomsday was showing up in season 2, so like they've been teasing this storyline for ages. I feel like they have to do, if it's even just for an episode, they have to touch on it, because if not, it's always going to be like Superman Lois teased Death of Superman 3 seasons in a row and never actually did it. But yeah, I think it's definitely not going to be what we want, because there's no way they're going to have a whole season based around it, because
no,
and
I wouldn't want that.
Not there for his final season.
So. I would hate a final season or a Death of Superman story in the final season. Like we have talked about this a bunch. If it was like a regular season, I think they could do a phenomenal Death of Superman.
An ultimate season would work great for this sort of thing.
It really would. Oh my gosh, I would love it. Or even if we had like more episodes, like if we had the normal 15 or 16, then I could maybe even see it then. But 10 is just not enough to do everything you want to do, especially a final season, because I do think season 4 has to be a bit hopeful. Like I think, like especially after like I love when the show gets dark, but I do think after last season, I think if you make it dark again, I do think you're going to drive people away, because I have friends on here that really hated season 3, not because it was bad, it's just it's hard to watch. It physically, I had a hard time watching, and I understand that fully.
Yeah, but I think like Death of Superman really works because it shows why the world needs Superman, sort of thing.
Yeah,
but you need a follow up to it. Like it can't just be that, because if you just have a season about why the world needs Superman without actually showing Superman, then at the end of it, like it would work great as if season 5 was the final season. This would work great as showing a season maybe without Clark there for a lot of it, and it's like, this is why the world needs Superman, and then season 5 is showing why he's so important. But yeah, you definitely can't do it when you've only got one season left, unless you like half.
I also don't think it works when you're getting rid of most of the cast for most of the season. So like, I could see a world where like John Henry steps up as almost a pseudo lead for a couple, where he is the Superman and Jordan's the Superman, and we have to really step up. And I also think just having Lex there would have made such a cool storyline with that as well. Like, the only, like, they have hope with Lex here because Clark is there, and he can't truly mess with the family because Clark's there. But Lex going after Lois and Clark is gone. They have to go in hiding. They have to be on the run. Lex is winning. Like, there's so many elements to that I think would work so well, especially where we left Jordan last season. Like, Jordan was a dick last season. And now he could, like, step up, be like, I have to be more responsible. I have to take my father's spot here. Like, there's so many elements I think could have made a perfect season 4 if we had, if it wasn't a final season, if we had more of a budget, if we had the writers and that cat. Like, it does make me kind of sad when you look at, like, everything.
But it would be so cool as well for that, because it's like with Lex Luthor, like his whole thing is like he wants Superman gone because he's like nobody should have that sort of power. People shouldn't be looking up to a god like this. He's not even human. But it'd be great if like Superman's gone and then you get John Henry putting the S on the steel suit and stuff like that, and then it's like, Lex is realizing you can't kill the idea of Superman. You can kill Superman, but you can't kill the idea. And he's like, well, he's lost because he can't get rid of Superman because now he's just got other people rising up to be the next Superman. And then Superman comes back anyway. Like,
we need that logo on the chest this season and that cape. Like, it has to happen.
We've got it right.
That's like the Mon-El thing from Supergirl, where he clearly has the symbol there. You just need to put it in.
It's not there. Like, it's there, but it's not.
Yeah. Imagine if Dick was services again. No, thank you. I'm good.
David Ramsey showing up with different hair to be like, this showcases I'm a different version of Diggle again. Remember when he did that?
It just
it's like, I've got different hair than Batwoman because this is a different version. And then he showed up on Flash the next week with the same hair anyway. Like, what?
He even offered to, like, I can, like, shave, like, I can, like, cut my hair to do this different version. He's like, nah, it's fine. I was like, what?
Makes no sense.
No. And also, oh my gosh, it was such a sad time in the fandom. Like, I feel like we're just now starting to heal from the trauma.
I'm still annoyed over that whole thing. I'm like, they could have been handled so much better.
Yeah.
So much more respectfully.
100%. Alrighty, Jurassic Park.
This is a thing.
David Lynch is in discussions for upcoming 2025 Jurassic Park film. This was announced about 2 weeks ago. We didn't have time to talk about it last week. That was one of the things that had to be cut. I was very shocked to see this. I'll be honest. I never thought that the last one was our last Jurassic Park movie or world movie. I never thought that. I always thought that, like, oh, they'll come back in like 8-10 years to do it, the like new trilogy or whatever. And this, like, 2 years later, we're like, all right, we're back already. Kind of took me off guard a little bit. Are you excited for this? Are you a Jurassic Park fan? I don't think we've ever talked about Jurassic Park, actually.
I don't think so. I've seen the original Jurassic Park and I've seen the first Jurassic World. I've not seen anything else, but I kind of like, I'm like aware of everything in the franchise, sort of. Like, I know that Fallen Kingdom, Fallen Kingdom was the
second one, I think.
Yeah, then this one was Dominion.
Yeah.
I thought bringing all of the people back was like, this is the end for the time being. Like, not forever, but for like 10-15 years, the franchise might go away for a little bit. To have it like, Dominion came out last year. Well, not last year, but 2022.
1, yeah. I think this too. I think those two.
Okay. Well, to say like the next one's coming out in 3 years, it's all right. So
yeah,
I guess it wasn't really much of an ending then. It was kind of a gap. Which, I mean, this will mean that there'll be about the same gap between the last one and this one that there was between Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Weird.
Yeah, I and like, even like looking back, like, I think it was the like director or something that had said, like, the like marketing has said this is the final one, but we never said that this was our final movie.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it was all in marketing and stuff like that. Which
I didn't see that at all. Interesting.
And again, I would have liked a longer bit of a break, but I am kind of I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited at all, because I am a fan. This is a weird franchise because I do like most of these films. I think they're usually okay.
Yeah.
But there's only one movie in this franchise I love. Like, I love the first one. Like, that first one might be one of my favorite films. Like, I love that movie so much. And the rest are okay. And they're like still fun most of the time. It's fun seeing Chris Pratt chase a dinosaur. Like, it's whatever. But like, I'm I don't know where I've heard it. Like I was trying to look for it last night and I couldn't find it. But rumor is that this is a much smaller Jurassic Park movie, something more intimate, and that is something that sounds a lot more fun to me. Like I like the idea of having like a Godzilla -1 situation where it is much more. Obviously, that's a big movie and has high stakes, but there's something that feels very small about that movie. Something very focused on the characters, and I like the idea where it's maybe like one guy and one dinosaur, and that's it. Just trying to like escape a building or something,
Yeah,
right?
it
I
would
feel
feel
like
very
there's so.
similar to them, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that could be. I think there's a lot of directions you can take Jurassic Park, and I feel like they
Yeah.
often kind of do the same general thing again and again. And I guess they tried to do all the clone thing in the last couple, and I was like, I don't know if that's the direction you go with
Like, I'm
something
not
like
sure
this.
about this.
Yeah, but I'm excited. It's also rumored to come out the same week as Superman Legacy.
Yep, I'll
Thoughts on
be
that
believe
whole
it when I
thing?
see it. Yeah, no, I think there's absolutely no way this comes out that soon. Late 2025 maybe, but July 2025, they
Yeah.
need to be filming by like the next 2 or 3 months if they want to make that. So actually with the amount of VFX and stuff that's going to be involved with a
Mhm.
Jurassic Park film, like
Yeah.
it would either come out and be the most rushed film we've ever seen, or it'll be, I don't know, or it won't come out next year.
Yeah.
I think it's like they're saying that now, and I think this might be like mind games to kind of mess with WB and try and get WB to move their film
Mm,
sort of thing, and then be like not put it there anyway. Kind of like the Civil War Batman v Superman thing, where both
yeah.
films were like hoping the other one would move
And they
for
didn't.
ages. Yeah. um, I feel like that's maybe what's going on here. Like maybe they've got no
Yeah.
intention of releasing this soon, but they're gonna try and like psych WB out anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I think 2026 is probably pretty likely.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would hope it doesn't come out that week. I feel like Superman Legacy could not. I mean, I think Superman could make more than a Jurassic Park. I think they definitely could. But
They
I
actually
don't think it
do
helped.
good. I
What's
think
that?
because even the bad Jurassic Park films
They
recently have
make a
been
lot of.
making like
Oh, they
they've
make
been making a
money.
billion.
Yeah.
I'm worried Superman Legacy on its own might not do too well. Like
Sure.
with Jurassic Park kind of getting in the way of that,
I think
even
it'd
as
be
well.
really funny if they did like a Barmieheimer thing, where it's
Yeah,
like you have to watch both at once. It's like Jurassic Legacy or something. Like just combine the two, and which would be a very sick double feature. I
that'll
think
be really
actually,
cool. That'd be really
like
cool.
the big blockbuster event of the summer. I think could be fun.
Yeah,
Um, but
be down for
yeah,
that.
we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Um, Live action How to Train Your Dragon. Jumping into How to Train Your Dragon early.
Nice.
The live action How to Train Your Dragon will be its own film. It will not be a play-by-play. I've been following this film for a minute. They announced it early. I think it was last spring. They officially announced it. And this last year has been a lot of casting, a lot of slow introductions, giving us small little details. The original director that did the whole trilogy is back to do this new trilogy. Obviously, the casting has been a lot of fun. The actor who played Stoic is back for this one as well, which is very exciting to me. And they had come out, like each thing that has come out leading to this film, I had been like, I'm nervous, but that sounds good. The casting looks solid. Everything, I love the directors coming back. And I think this was kind of a seal in a coffin for me. That was like, you know what? I'm excited for this. I think How to Train Your Dragon is one of the best trilogies of all time, in my opinion. I love those films. I think, again, they're some of my all-time favorite movies of all time. And again, I think dragons could be really cool in live action. I think if you do it right, these guys could look incredible. Again, the casting looks great. And there does just feel like there's so much heart in this film. Like going into it feels like there's so much passion going into it. The sets already look amazing. We were talking pre-stream that you have only seen the first one, right?
I've always seen the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I watched it during COVID as well.
Yeah. Is this something that you would be excited to see? Like, based on your knowledge of just the one, would you like to see a live action How to Train Your Dragon?
I mean, I think it'll look cool. I think it's something that would look really interesting. But I feel like, would you lose some of the charm by it?
Oh, I 100% think
I mean,
you're.
outside of the animation.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing that makes me excited about this statement, because I don't want the same thing. Like, I want.
Yeah.
Like, from the sound of this, it sounds like they're making a different story. It's not just going to be the same story as the first one, which does excite me. And I'm curious because I have had people say, oh, like maybe they'll adapt the books because the other films don't adapt the books at all. Like they have like talking dragons and it's like very different to what the movies did. So they're like, well, maybe these live action films will adapt the books instead of the other movies. I was like, that's actually a really cool theory that I'd be down for. I haven't read the books yet. I need to, but that'd be cool if they went that way. I do think How to Train Your Dragon, more so in the sequels, but because I think the first one would have to follow a sort of like formula. But like especially in sequels, there are a lot I think you can do in this world if you want to expand on what has already come up. You could do different villains. You could do different, of course, you could do different dragons. Obviously, you have to keep some of the basics. I'd say you have to keep your like Toothless and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm excited. That's next year as well. Next year's gonna be crazy for film.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff next year.
Oh man, I saw someone post like an entire list of like what all is coming out next year. And
yeah,
like, this list is crazy. List, I think people are on chicken out. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be like 2026.
Absolutely.
People like, and we're gonna go broke. I think
anything that's not like set in stone for 2025, I think is probably pretty likely to move.
Sure. Barry White said that. Let's hope it doesn't turn out like Dragon Ball Z live action. I haven't seen that movie, but I hear it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty bad. Pretty not great.
Yeah. I also think like this coming out. I think this like article came out the perfect time because the same week everyone was talking about the like live action Avatar stuff that's been getting a lot of bad press recently with statements. Yeah. And I don't. You're watching it for like the first time, right? Are you liking it?
Yeah, I think it's solid.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm kind of waiting to like talk about some of that stuff until I see it because I think a lot of the things that we're currently not happy with like what we're hearing, I think may not even be an issue once we actually see the product. Like I think a lot of that is just like internet being the internet, and not saying that they're not valid opinions because they truly are. But
yeah, absolutely.
Once we see it in motion, it's like, oh, actually that wasn't that big of a deal after all. But I think this just came out perfect time for people to praise its good name, I guess. All right, Joker 3, upcoming Joker, or did I say Joker? Sonic the Hedgehog.
I was like, wait, we're getting a third Joker film? When did that happen?
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 had a buttload of casting this week, along with Jim Carrey being announced to return to the role.
That's wild. I love how that's the one film that's bringing him back. He's like, I'm retiring after Sonic 2. It's like, actually, you know what? There's a third Sonic. Count me in.
Sounds fun.
I love it.
You're a massive Sonic fan. You love the franchise. You like the first two, right?
I love the first two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're great.
We have what an interesting selection of actors here as well.
Yeah.
Like I was putting together all the photos.
And we've got Hayden Christensen rumored as well for Shadow.
Yeah. I was actually I don't know why they haven't officially announced that yet.
Yeah.
Seemingly, I would have put it with all the rest of these actors, but
I would have as well. Yeah.
Thoughts on all of these castings? Obviously, I know 3 out of the 4 of these actors and actresses.
Yeah, I know trailers as well. I'm not
who
sure
they'll play. Do you have any theories about what their role in the film will be?
I think I know who Jim Carrey will play.
Shadow.
Yeah, I think Kristen Ritter could be Rouge.
That's what I've heard too. Yeah.
The others, I feel like the others are probably just human characters, maybe new characters, original characters.
Sure. I know the girl was announced as that one character, but I don't know who the character was. It was like the one.
Didn't notice that or realize that.
The girl that got shot in the head or something that people like to talk about or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the Sonic lore, but like everyone was up in arms that like, oh, they're going to shoot the girl in the head in the movie or something.
Oh no. I see. I didn't look too much into who was like.
Yeah.
I saw the castings. I didn't look into like who they might be playing.
Okay.
But like that. Okay, interesting. I mean, do you want to talk about the Knuckles stuff here as well, or do you want to save that for next week?
Yeah, I have that next up here too. If you want to talk about it.
No, just because like the big week for it all, like coming out in April is pretty insane.
Is it April?
Yeah, April 26th.
Oh, the show. I thought you meant the movie. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, the movie's December still. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I was kind of. Really? I was kind of worried that they wouldn't make the December date because I was like, they still have to film and everything, but like film properly. But they seem pretty set. Like they seem like there's no way they're not making that December date, which is kind of crazy. Like I would have thought they would have needed to have been filming last year, like late last year.
Yeah.
But I guess the strike probably threw everything off. Maybe that was the original plan. But I'm really excited for it. I think like it's insane that how bad the first one could have been based off of the original trailer, and then they everybody's yelling at them about it, like change that, and they did, and now we're getting one of the best video game adaptations or video game franchises to screen adaptations of all time, which is pretty great.
No, it really is. I feel like this franchise, and I bet we'll talk about it more when we get to like the Knuckles stuff, but this is a franchise that just feels they care so much about the source material and this world. And this one, to me, feels like maybe they're fully just embracing the Sonic-ness of it all. Like, if the first one was like E.T., if like the second one was, okay, we're going to slowly dip our toes in like the Sonic lore, this one feels like we're throwing them in. Just like, here you go, here's Shadow, and here's Baby Rouge, and here's all these different... Dr. Eggman's back again. Here's all these big Sonic characters, and Hayden Christensen as Shadow. Like, there's all these different things, and Danny Rojas is up in here for some reason.
I love that. But I feel like that's such a good way to do it, though. It's like you have that first film that's there for the people who don't really know this stuff, and like, you know, they're not going to watch a full Sonic the Hedgehog adaptation, but they'll watch that film that's like kind of there, kind of isn't. But then they like the first one enough that they do watch the second one, which is just a full-on like video game movie pretty much.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you suck them in, and now it's here.
Sure, that's fair.
I think that's really smart.
Also, just Eggman being back as well, because I think we talked about it earlier. I think it was last month where I had said like I was kind of happy maybe he was taking a break from this one. We can do something else. Not that I don't love him as Eggman, because I do think that casting is phenomenal. But I was like, maybe take a break from 3 and he comes back for either 4 or 5. You know, are you happy that he's back?
Yeah, because I would be worried that whatever villain they go with following up him would not be able to match him.
Sure.
Like I was constantly worried that they nailed that casting so much that like you'd need some next level sort of thing to follow him. Like it just the charisma and energy he brings to it is insane. That I don't think like I think if he wasn't in Sonic 3, we could be talking a year from now about how Sonic 3 wasn't as good because because it didn't have as good a villain sort of thing.
Sure.
So I'm excited for it.
Barry White said the first 2 films were great. I want the universe to be explored more with a possible crossover. I'm thinking Mario shows up.
I've seen people say they want like this to lead up to like a Smash Bros universe.
Yeah.
Maybe like, I mean, that'd be cool. Like bringing like Pikachu from Detective Pikachu with Ryan Reynolds voicing him. Like that'd be crazy.
Chris Pratt Mario and
that'd be so cool. Do like Sonic Mario at the Olympics.
I think I would be for it. I know there's a lot of people who's like, don't do that or whatever. I'd be for it, but I think it's incredibly hard to do it well. Like in concept, it's sick. It really is. But in execution, I think it could be hard. And it could just be like cameo fest where like on paper this is cool, but on like in reality it just doesn't work or something.
It sounds like a Wreck-It Ralph style thing or like a Space Jam 2 style thing where it's just like a lot of sort of different elements combined. I mean, I don't think I'd like kind of a franchise or a cinematic universe, but I would maybe like a one-off film where they bring back like, you know, Ben Schwartz's Sonic, Chris Pratt's Mario. Like it's not connected to any of their stuff, but they're all in this sort of thing.
Star Fox
would be cool.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Sonic, we had new trailers for Knuckles and Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We talked about both these shows a couple weeks ago. I think we kind of ranked both. Actually, no, we didn't talk about Knuckles, but we talked about the Ninja Turtles. Let's talk about the Knuckles show first. This had come out. I thought they were going to save it for Sunday, but maybe they just put it out now for they can show it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Did you watch the trailer and are you hyped for it?
I'm real hyped for it. I didn't realize Sonic was in this. I mean, maybe they announced that, but I didn't realize he was going to be like a part of it. I thought it was going to be like a thing with Sonic on his own. Some of the other characters are in it as well, like Tails is in it, and then the other woman that I forget the name of was in it as well from the movies. I forget the human characters' names. Yeah,
the dog from
the dog as well. Yeah, but I'd like also I know it's marketing and they're doing this because they know it looks well in marketing. But I love how they had the ring transition the Paramount logo, like going like from red to blue. I was like, that's cool. But yeah, I think it looks really good. I think they considering it's coming out in April, I thought maybe they would have announced this, like the release date, like a couple months ago. But it feels like it's just coming out soon. 6-episode event. They know what they're doing with this franchise. Like, it's one of the few franchises that it feels like they know what's working and they know what's not working.
Yeah.
And plus, just April and May and June are going to be stacked for TV shows. Like, we got Fallout like 2 weeks before this, Invincible, in March. The Boys coming out in June. Like, it's going to be pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't know exactly what to expect with the show. This was announced right after Sonic. No, it was before Sonic 2 even came out. It was a good bit that we knew this film was happening, and I really liked the idea. Again, I'm not a huge like Sonic head. I don't know all of the different lore and stuff like that. Outside of the film,
Knuckles
I don't know much
things.
about Knuckles. Yeah, I know he's riding, he's strong and stuff, like the very basics. But I loved him in the movie. I was very excited to see what they did with the show. And this looks like a blast. Like, this show genuinely seems like so much fun. It seems like exactly what the films are, but in 6 episodes and with Knuckles instead of Sonic. And I'm kind of here for that. Like, I have some issues with like the movies. Like, some of the human stuff doesn't always work as well for me as maybe some other people would. But like, it kind of this is a really weird comparison, but I got like Stargirl vibes with the trailer.
Yeah,
kind of very just kind of fun. Just kind of, it looks like a fun, lighthearted show. And I honestly maybe think the Sonic, like this formula for the Sonic movies might even work better in like a TV show format, just to kind of let it all breathe a little bit. I think giving Knuckles a human actually does make a lot more sense than even Sonic, because I think he needs someone else to really bounce off of. If it was just Knuckles for 6 episodes, it would not work. It would not be funny. So he needs kind of like that idiot character that he can kind of bounce off of, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like what you said about it working better into TV show format. I kind of would maybe hope that like after 3, they maybe take a break from the movies for a bit and kind of focus on giving us like TV shows for these characters. Because I think you get to do more with them in that sort of format. Plus, I mean, I don't know, I feel like going past 3 films is something we don't really get very often in terms of franchises like this. Like, it feels like 2 to 3 is kind of where they settle on. So for them to go past 3, like if they announce like a Sonic 4 and 5 or something like that, like right after 3 comes out, I'll be kind of shocked. I think they're going to take a break movie wise and maybe focus on the streaming stuff.
Do you believe the rumor about the Shadow movie or no?
Oh, I didn't even see. I need to keep up more with these rumors. I didn't even see that. I mean, I would love that, but honestly though, I would like a similar thing to Knuckles, where it's like a Shadow movie.
Yeah.
I would like to think it's another where it's a Shadow TV show.
Show instead of movie. Yeah. I wouldn't be against it. I mean, I'd be, again, I don't know much about Shadow. Like, I'm not going to sit here and
He's
be
got
like,
a gun
yes,
in the PS2 game.
He's just bad Sonic right now. But
it's Sonic, but black and red instead of blue and white.
Yeah, I'm very curious what they do with the franchise. I'm down if they do some more shows in the future. Again, we have to see what they do with this. I thought the like comedy in this movie was also really, really good. Like, they got some. I loved the like dog bit where it's like he's going to face his most evil rival and just the mailman tied up in the closet. Like, that's really funny. I love the like parallels to the second trailer where it's like, you can't take my power. Like that whole bit, like paralleling the second trailer. The second movie trailer was really cool.
But they just nailed the tone. Like, it feels like there's a perfect line between being serious and being comedic, and they know what they're doing. Yeah.
I'm curious what we do with the villain as well. Like, he seems like he worked with Robotnik, and he's from a Game of Thrones, right?
I didn't notice who the actor.
Isn't that
Let me double check because I'm curious. I watched it on my phone. I didn't even watch it on my computer. Or I should have.
The bear. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen Game of Thrones in a minute. I'm sorry. It's the.
Was it the Hound? Was that actor?
Hound, I think. Yeah.
Oh really? That was him?
I think that's what the Real Reject said. I was like, oh, is it?
Oh, okay.
I didn't pick it up.
Let me double check that.
We are professionals here, y'all. We know how to podcast.
We know what we're doing.
Fine. Yeah, we're experts in person.
Let me try. Oh wait, you know what? It does kind of. I'm trying to like get the thing to load. Yeah, no, that's him. All right. Damn.
Is it? Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's definitely his voice. Damn, I didn't realize that. That's cool. Because I don't think I've seen him in anything else except for Hot Fuzz and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I definitely would not have been able to pinpoint it. But yeah, quickly, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Did you see the trailer at all?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
Was it good?
You're off the podcast. Just kidding.
All right. Well.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks. I was very curious what this is going to look like because the Megamind trailer came out last week. That was also for Paramount Plus, I think.
Was that for Peacock?
Was it Peacock?
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So that makes sense. But I mean, even after that, I was still a little bit concerned about what the quality of some of these like streaming shows were going to be. It looks fun. It looks. I mean, all the voice actors are back, which was something I was wondering. It has the style of like an arcade to me. Like, I obviously knew it was not going to look like the movies. They were clearly not going to do a TV show in that style, but they went with like the classic Turtles like arcade type style to it, which I think looks fun. They're still fighting crime. They're talking about like high school. It looks fun to me. I will definitely be tuning in. I might have to get Paramount Plus just for these two shows to come out. Because I currently don't have it. I haven't had a reason to have the platform. So
it's easily my most used of the streaming
services.
Really?
Oh, because Star Trek. Yeah, that makes sense.
I use it like nonstop.
I had it for like a month, and I was going through. There's nothing on there for me to watch.
Oh yeah. See, a lot of the HBO stuff end up on there for us because like the HBO stuff over here kind of gets separated between them and Sky. So
sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a service for me where I'll get it when there's new stuff coming out. Like the Avatar show is going to end up going on there. The movies will eventually as well. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Sonic and the Ninja Turtle stuff, I'll tune in eventually. Alrighty, let's just go through some of the stuff. This one was from a couple weeks ago. We're back on the Madam Web train, and officially comes out in 1 week. I'm pretty sure it comes out like this.
Yeah, next Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, officially next week.
Yeah.
So this could come out like 3 weeks ago. We didn't end up getting around to talk about it. So Madam Web is apparently now set in a standalone continuity, not in the MCU, not in the Sony Venomverse.
No,
a brand new continuity. Do you have any opinions on this? Are you happy? Are you sad that it's not connected to Venom?
I'm so happy this isn't going to be connected to Morbius and Vulture from Homecoming ending up in the Morbius verse and Venom and all of that. I think keep this, if this is any chance of being good, keep it as far away from them as possible.
Yeah.
Because I think we'll start getting reviews tomorrow, I think, don't we? Because I think the premiere is tonight, from what I saw. Yeah, so we'll probably get like reactions tonight or tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, good.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm kind of disappointed that it's not set in the Sonyverse. I think.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, we had talked about this. Like, I think this is the first. I'm not going to say it looks good because that would be a lie. But I think it's I keep saying this. I think it's the first good step in direction for the Sonyverse. Like, this was the first thing. It's like, oh, these are characters that you should be adapting. Like, I feel like this is a step in the right direction. And then that one good thing, it's like, actually, we're not set in this world whatsoever. You still got a pile of garbage over here. And I don't know, I kind of thought it was like a, like this could be the first kind of step in that, right direction. And it's set on its own. And again, maybe that's for the best. Maybe it can stand on its own and just be a solid movie. I don't have much to say about it outside of just, what is the Sonyverse doing at this point? Like what?
I mean, is it a thing going forward? Are they going to be like every film is its own thing now?
I don't know. I mean, they keep saying, like, they keep announcing stuff and like, oh yeah, this is still the El Dorito project that they announced or whatever. It's still happening. We're still doing it. It's like, why though?
Yeah. I think Madam Web has a really good ensemble. Like, in terms of the cast and the characters they're using in it, that I think allowing them to be off on their own and giving them the opportunity to follow up this film with, because I feel like the characters and the castings they have are all great. Even if this film isn't good, I would like to see them follow it up with something that maybe will be good.
Sure. And Madam Web is often like a multiversal type thing as well, I think. So maybe
Web's like attached to the multiverse or something.
Yeah, so maybe there's a chance where they connect to the Sonyverse or even like Secret Wars. I've heard people say, oh, maybe she shows up in Secret Wars and they all connect to each other or something. We'll see.
I think they'll keep Morbius way out of Secret Wars. I don't think Feige's letting that happen. I think Madam Web, for sure. And Venom, probably.
I think Venom. I would actually be shocked if Venom I actually think Venom's going to be a big part of that movie, actually. Like, I
Yeah.
think Tom Hardy will be, like, one of the main players in that film, which is actually, I think, very hype. Like, I think if you can
Yeah.
have, like, Tom Holland and Tom Hardy banter back and forth, I think could be fun.
And we
But
still
then
got
it's
to get a
like,
follow-up on the Venom being left in the MCU at
oh,
in
yeah,
the after credit scene.
the little piece of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that's a Secret Wars thing as well, because the like, Venom Spider-Man is, like, a big
Yeah.
part of that story, I think.
Sure
So,
is.
we'll see it in 10 or so years, I suppose.
Yeah, because there's two Secret Wars. There's the one, like the 1980s one, where they're all on the planet, like where all the big heroes get sucked onto the planet, and like some of the villains are up there as well. And then that's where Peter gets the black suit. And then there's the second Secret Wars, which is like the multiverse one.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, if they connect them, that'd be cool.
Alrighty, I'm gonna lead these next couple to you because these are stories that you really wanted to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Disney has now invested $1.5 billion for a stake in Epic Games. This came out during their investors meeting, along with
big thing
the Moana and also the Moana announcement and Percy Jackson and a couple other things. This was I feel like I didn't really think too much about this when it kind of, like, I saw it was like Epic Games and Disney. I was like, oh, they're having a crossover or whatever. I didn't really look too much into it. But then you're like, hey, this is a big thing. I was like, oh, this is kind of a big thing. So what are your opinions on this whole thing?
So they're like involved with Epic now. Like I didn't look too much into it into terms of who has a certain amount of money in Epic Games, but I think Disney now owns a fair amount of Epic Games by doing this. Which it's interesting because most big companies like this, they don't try and invest in already established game developers. They try and make their own game developer. Like Amazon and Google both try to get into the gaming industry by making their own little game studios, but they both failed and they both lost tons of money. Like Google tried to make their own console called Stadia, that completely collapsed and they lost billions on it. So I think it's smart that Disney's deciding to put money into an already established game developer instead of trying to make their own like Disney game studios or something like that.
Yeah.
But this means that like for things like Fortnite, you're probably gonna see a lot more like Disney characters show up in it. Then you probably will see less like DC characters and more Marvel characters sort of thing. But I also think that like we're probably going to see an official Disney game under Epic Games that's developed by Epic Games. That's going to have that sort of. It might feel kind of like a Fortnite style game with just Disney characters. I'm not really familiar too much with like Dreamlight Valley and stuff like that, but I think it's going to be similar to that, but with like the Fortnite look sort of thing. Because Epic's mastered having a live service sort of thing where it's just this ecosystem pretty much within itself of a game. And if they're going to do that with all those Disney franchises, like they've got like ESPN in there. So does that mean there's going to be like a sports game coming out that's like going to be under Disney? That's crazy. But I think I wouldn't say we're going to see like a Star Wars game under Epic or a Marvel game under Epic, but I think we'll see like a collab that's all of the stuff in one place.
Yeah. I mean, is this something that like you think is like a negative, or do you think like this is a positive?
I would say it's better than Disney trying to make their own game studio or outright buying a game studio, because something that like happens in the games industry a lot is companies just buy each other. Like Microsoft has bought so many different game developers over the last few years, rather than investing in them, they just straight up buy them. So I think this is good because it means like Disney aren't controlling a game studio. They've just got more of a stake in it. They're just more involved in what that studio makes, and they can like maybe they can steer Epic on what they make going forward. But I think it's also a case of just we'll see a high caliber game come out that features these characters. So I think it could go either way, but I think it's more positive than negative.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I see someone as a massive fan of the Disney brand and these characters as like, this is extremely hype to me. Like I love the kind of idea of like a Disney game in the style of like the Epic game, or of like the Fortnite. I was almost thinking like they have like Fortnite has started to be more of a brand than a game itself.
It for sure has, yeah.
I was wondering if there was like an exclusive Disney game on Fortnite, like you have like your Lego and all that kind of stuff they're starting to do now.
Yeah,
which I think would be cool. I haven't played in a minute. I've kind of stopped playing, but I love the like Disney Dreamlight Valley. Like I love that game. So I think something kind of in those, and Disney is always do games like this where it's like oh, you have to build up a world where, you know, in like your Disneyland and you have all these different characters, but like during like people in like the like Dreamlight Valley world, it's like, are we ever going to get Star Wars? Are we ever going to get Marvel? Are we ever going to get Avatar and all these kind of things? And it's seeming like no, but like maybe something like this, you could have something.
I think we will, yeah. I think that's pretty much what it's going to be, where it's like this giant world. You know, you go through one section, you've got like a Star Wars thing in there. You go through another, you've got a Marvel thing. I think it's like it might feel like just Disney parks, but with a video game format sort of thing.
It kind of reminds me of a Wreck-It Ralph 2. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but like they go inside the internet. They go to here's Toy Story Land, and here's the princesses, and here's all these things. And it seems like you may have something like that, which could be really cool. I think, you know, it sounds fun. We'll have to wait to see what they do. When do you think some of this will start to take effect? Like, do you think it's gonna be a while?
Yeah, I'd say it'll be. Well, I think collabs in Fortnite will probably be pretty soon, like a couple months. I think in terms of getting a whole new game through this, I would guess like 2026 at the earliest, because like games take a while to make.
Sure.
Unless they've been working on this a while.
Yeah, no, that's definitely very fair. I'm definitely curious to see kind of where they go. Like I try to at least try out most of their like Disney games that they put out. You know, the Epic Mickeys and a lot of that stuff from the past. They just did that racing game a little while ago, and now I almost wonder if they like regret making that, because they could have just had their thing with like the Rocket League, right? They could have just
they could have
it. So maybe they might take that off the market and rebrand it or something. I don't know.
Which I think like this is probably going to be something that's free. I think they're probably going to make this like similar to Fortnite, where it's like
you have to pay. Yeah.
The money comes from buying certain costumes or buying certain cosmetics inside the game itself.
Oh yeah, and that's how all like the Disney games work. Like you're like Dreamlight Valley, like the game is free. Well, I mean, it is now. I think like you can buy the game for free, but you have to buy all these new costumes, and there's all these events you have to, you know, you have the coins, but if you want more coins, you have to pay $50. You know, all these kind of things.
That's probably what this is going to be as well, I'd say.
I would guarantee it. All right, and also on the other gaming side of things, Xbox. Phil Spencer is looking forward to sharing the future vision of Xbox on next week.
This is a big one for me.
Yeah, go ahead. Have it.
Okay, no, I think this is like insane for the gaming industry, because I guess like a bit of backstory, I guess, for like what's going on with Xbox is that for like, do you know about Game Pass, the thing that they have, which is like their streaming service pretty much for games, where they've got like 100 games on their lineup. For a while now, Xbox has like really been steering digital, which you know was the new Xbox that came out. Like the Xbox Series S was a digital all console. The Xbox Series X was a disc drive one. PlayStation's kind of been going that direction as well. They had the PlayStation 5 digital, the PlayStation 5 with disc stuff, but Xbox has been like really heading towards that direction in more of a way than PlayStation. Like in Europe last month, a lot of retailers just started stopping selling Xbox games, because they're like, nobody's buying them anymore because everyone's going digital with Xbox. So there's been rumors that Xbox are just not going to make physical games anymore, and just go completely digital. But the more insane thing is that last week there were rumors that a lot of Xbox exclusives like Starfield, the upcoming Indiana Jones game, Gears of War, are going to be available now on like PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch and stuff like that, which that sounds like Xbox is going full third party, which means Xbox aren't going to have exclusive games anymore. They're going to make games still, but they're all going to be games that come out on PlayStation or come out on Switch and Xbox, and not just Xbox. Which that's really worrying, because one, it means if you bought an Xbox, like if you bought an Xbox at the start of this generation for games, you probably made a choice whether to get an Xbox or a PlayStation. You probably like said, oh, I don't want to play Last of Us or Spider-Man or Uncharted because I'm getting an Xbox for these other games. Like maybe you do want to play those games on PlayStation, but you made a choice to get an Xbox. Now it's like you probably made the wrong decision. You probably made a mistake, because those games are going to be on PlayStation anyway. Like there's no reason to buy an Xbox over a PlayStation now, basically. But on top of that is, if there's no exclusives anymore, Sony has no incentive anymore to make great games, because they're the only place who's going to have exclusive games. Like in a world without Xbox, we probably don't get a game as good as Last of Us or Uncharted, because Sony has no reason to develop these single player focused cinematic story games, because they don't have to be the best anymore, because they're already on top. Like during that generation was a period when Xbox was Xbox 360 sold so much more than PlayStation 3. And this led to Sony making games like Last of Us because they were trying to get on top. If they don't have to get on top anymore, they're not going to be trying to make great games anymore. So I feel like this is just worrying. There's also rumors that they might announce that Xbox in general is just going away, that they're just going to be games focused now and not hardware focused. So we might not get, like next generation, we might get a Switch 3 and a PlayStation 6 with no Xbox.
Yeah.
So that Xbox and Microsoft's game studios are just completely focused on releasing games on PlayStation and Switch and PC and not bothering with anything to do with Xbox. So it looks like it's going to really change what the gaming industry looks like within the next few years. Probably not in a good way. That the fandom is kind of, or no, I guess that's not fandom, just the gaming community in general is kind of, some people are like, well, this is good, it means no exclusives, but I think exclusives really help the industry because it forces studios to make better games because they're trying to be better than the other studios. I think if you get rid of exclusives at all and PlayStation's the only place putting out games that aren't available anywhere else, then you lose a lot of what makes good games. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what his update thing is about. I'm worried that it is going to mean bad things for Xbox going forward, though, that it's going to, after this update thing is done, he's going to be pretty much Xbox as you know it doesn't exist anymore. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is definitely a story that we can kind of come back to once he makes the announcement and we have full details. And this is something that and that's an element I didn't really even think of, for someone who has Switch and who has a PlayStation 5 and stuff like that, that kind of stuff is oh, cool. Maybe I don't have to, I won't, I'm not planning on getting an Xbox, so I could just not play these games. But that is definitely an approach that I didn't even think about. They could stop trying, or is there even a point to getting an Xbox if you have these other things your Blade and stuff like that? Was I was kind of sad, oh man, I won't be able to play Blade unless I get it on the PC or whatever. But that is definitely very interesting, and I feel like exclusives is wasn't something that I ever got when I was younger. I was that's dumb. I should just be able to play any game. If I have a system, I should just be able to play the game. But once you kind of lay it out like that, that does make a lot of sense.
I mean, I think it's sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just going to ask, out of this announcement, what would you kind of want it to be? What is the direction that you think could save this situation?
Well, Xbox is kind of like Starfield came out in September, the new Bethesda game that, their next Skyrim Fallout game. Microsoft bought Bethesda for $7 billion. So they spent a lot of money on buying Bethesda. And Starfield was the first proper game to come out from Bethesda since that buyout. And it was the first Xbox exclusive. Microsoft really relied on Starfield to be the thing that sold Xboxes. And Starfield instead didn't really do too well in terms of reviews or in terms of sales. So I think that's kind of changed a lot going forward. I think that means for them that now they're if a game like Starfield isn't going to sell an Xbox for us, nothing will. So they're we just need to keep switching. I would hope this thing would be more I don't even know. They just got their Activision Blizzard thing through pretty recently as well, which that's the Call of Duty stuff. They bought them as well. So I would wonder if it's they're just going to announce that Call of Duty is going cross-platform and everything. But I don't know. I feel like that's something they just announce on Twitter. They don't go to a whole event to do. I can't think of anything good the event could be. I feel like if it was good, they'd be addressing the rumors already. They wouldn't be letting them linger so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the most likely thing it's going to be is just straight up you're going to be seeing all of your games on other consoles, which for Xbox fans, it's very much why did I buy an Xbox then?
Yeah.
If everything's going to PlayStation anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's very fair. I'll be very curious to kind of hear the update that you have to us in a week or a week and a half or whatever it may be when their announcements start to come out.
Hell yeah.
Very interesting. All right, we're going to be jumping into our main topic here today. So it's Valentine's Day week, in a couple days. So I thought it'd be really fun to talk about some of our favorite fictional ships, which again is very different than what we normally talk about on here. But I did think it'd be kind of fun to kind of go back and forth. So Connor had picked 4. I have also picked 4 here, and we'll go back and forth and talk about some ships that we really like. So first up here is also a ship that I would have had in my list. It's on the thumbnail, and that is Clark Kent and Lois Lane.
Oh yeah,
I was like, which one should I pick? And I was like, I'll pick all of them. They're all great. They're almost all great. So this was your pick, Connor. What's your opinion on Clark Kent and Lois Lane?
I mean, I think they're the most iconic comic book. Yeah. Like in terms of this sort of stuff, I think like you like Peter Parker, Mary Jane. You got Barry Allen, Iris West. You got all like those big ones. I think Clark Kent and Lois Lane are they're the top. Like they're the originals. You can't really get better than them, I feel like. And I love how for the most part there hasn't really been an adaptation yet of these characters where they haven't been together, something like that. Like we haven't seen like what they did with Oliver in Arrow or something like that. They've kind of always kept this what it is. I love the Superman 78 version with Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve. I love the Tom Welling, Eric Durant's version from Smallville. I love Tyler and Bitsy from Superman Lois, and I love the Adventures of Superman, Adventures with Superman 1 as well. I think favorite's probably Smallville, but Superman Lois is like right there as well. It's like right behind it. I think they're 2 very different versions though. It's like with Smallville, we're seeing a version of them that are just happening. And we see them like reluctantly go down that path. But then with Superman Lois, it's like, 20 years down the line. It's like it's a very different versions of the characters that are dealing with 2 very different things. They're dealing with a lot of different work lives and a lot of different they've got different chemistries with each other. I think both complement each other really well. It's like with Superman and Lois, it's a very kind of classic look at the characters, whereas with Smallville, it feels like a very 2000s kind of look at the characters, and I really appreciate that. I love them both.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing I do really like is that each version of these characters are so drastically different, but I love them all the same. And obviously there's some versions I don't love as much as some others, and I think there's some continuities that do it better than others. But
why do you hate Smallville, Darren?
Oh man, I don't know.
Hate it?
No, I love, and like on their individual things, like both Smallville Clark and Lois and Superman Lois Clark and Lois are both in my like top 5 ships. Like they would both take a spot. And then with my Adventures, when that came out, I was like, I think they might actually be high on my list as well. Like they are also some of my favorite ships. And they're just like you said, they are really just that golden standard. And Superman Lois, I think, is probably my favorite version of those 2. I think the way those 2 actors have so much chemistry to them. They truly understand those characters, and I love how they write Clark and Lois. Like I was very nervous when they had announced the show. I was like, all right, this is a CW show. This is one of the first, I'm pretty sure it's the first Arrow show where they started married, where they started as a couple. Like even in like Black Lightning, like they start the show like they were married, but they're not together now. So like, what's the drama going to be? And even when there is drama with Clark and Lois, it's good drama. Like there's that scene in season 1 where it's like, I'm mad at you, Clark. I don't know how to express my feelings, but I love you, and I'm leaving now for I don't yell anymore. And it's like, what perfect writing that you gave in for this Clark and Lois Lane. Like it's so good.
Anytime they get into an argument, I believe it. Like I believe both sides. I believe why they're having it. It's like, it doesn't feel like drama for the sake of drama. It feels like it comes from the story and naturally from the characters. I love that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I love, and again, I think that's one of the reasons I'm so sad to see Superman Lois end, to see them wrap up that show. Because these 2 are, I love their version of Clark and Lois, and then them as together is just, I think it's very important to have like representation of healthy couples in media. Like I think that is so important, and we'll see that as we go through most of these couples on this list. So yeah, Clark and Lois Lane. Go into the standard right there. Do you have any final thoughts on that?
I feel like Superman Legacy is probably going to go more of a direction like between Smallville and between Superman 78. I think in terms of the characters, I feel like whatever they do with their Clark and Lois is going to land like between those 2. Because I know from their castings, I get such Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder vibes from David and Rachel. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with that version, like where it's going to fall in terms of the pairings.
Yeah. Barry White said, I like Smallville version and Superman Lois version. My adventures with Superman has fresh face, kind of. I feel like I had to get used to it. I do feel like that was a lot of people where like a lot of people had to kind of get used to this version of, especially Lois, because Lois, very different version of Lois Lane than we're used to. But I still really loved her in the show. Like, she really did grow on me. Alrighty. My first pick here is Hiccup and Astrid. We talked about How to Train Your Dragon earlier on in the video. Hiccup and Astrid are probably my favorite ship in fiction. I think their journey from movie 1 to like the 200 episodes of TV to, I think it's 200, it's an insane amount, to How to Train Your Dragon 2 especially, I think really set a foundation for these characters, and I think is one of the most healthy relationships that I've seen in media. Just the two characters being so there for each other. I think their back and forth banter was always written very well, where clearly they love each other, they're there for each other, they have this kind of back and forth to them, but it never feels mean. It never feels like one's making fun of another. It always feels very like they are there for each other no matter what. And then to see, I think Hiccup's arc through the films are very interesting, because he starts the movie, slight spoilers for these films, Connor.
No.
If you want to plug your ears, I'm so sorry. But no, he starts the film and he has nothing. He has absolutely nothing in his life, and he finds Hiccup, and he finds Toothless, and Toothless gives him something for the first time in forever, and Toothless slowly helps him grow his life. He gets him, and he's growing friends, and he's bringing a closer relationship to his father, and he meets his mother, and there's so many things, and you physically get to see him grow from movie to the TV show, the movie, and by the end, when they have to give up the dragons, and he has to let go of that part of himself, he then also gets to look back and realize, wait, I don't need him anymore. I love Toothless, I want him to be in my life, but I have Astrid now, and I have my mom, and I have this family that I've grown, and I'm a leader of my people, and there's all these different elements to that, and obviously to see them get married at the end, and they have their kids, and to see him at the end of the movie be able to show his kids to the dragons after that kind of step away, I think is so beautiful, and I think they will forever be like my favorite ship in fiction. Sorry, Lois and Clark, you're number 2, I think. But
you hate Smallville and you hate Superman.
I hate Clark Kent. Wow. Screw you, Clark Kent. Clark Kent.
Don't go to Superman Legacy, okay? Is what I'm hearing from this. You heard it here first. Darren said don't go to it. He said don't see it. No
Superman Legacy. Fitz and Simmons, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This would have also been on my list. But this was your pick, Connor. I know. Connor, what's your thoughts on Fitz and Simmons?
I think it's the best handling of how to do this kind of thing in a TV show that you can do. There is a scene in season 3 when right after Simmons gets brought back from Maveth, the planet that she's stuck on, and after Will saved her, sent her back to the planet, or sent her back to Earth, and she got through the portal, and then Fitz is like, figuring out how to get the portal open so that he can go back and save Will, because Simmons is saying Will's still over there, and they're just like arguing at each other about how much they've done for each other, and you've got like Fitz giving out about how he was hero man, and she's like, and you dove your hole in the universe for me and all that sort of stuff, and then it's great. It's like they're just yelling at each other, but at the end of the episode it's fine, there's no drama about it, and I think that like throughout the entire show it's pretty much that, like they always handle it so well. And in season 2 you have Fitz where he's got his brain damage, and he's seeing Simmons there and she's not really there, and it's I think it's they are the heart of the show for sure for me. But it's like it's constantly, I remember from seasons 2 to 6, no, it's actually 2 to 7, every single season they're taken away from each other for a bit. It's like season 2 Simmons is undercover with Hydra. Season 3 Simmons is on Maveth. Season 4 Fitz is inside the framework being the Doctor, and then he's got the whole thing where he comes out with Theta, and then season 5 he's in the present while she's in the future. Season 6, you've got the old version of Fitz stuck on one side of space and she's on the other side of space, and then season 7 he's like trapped in the quantum realm while she's on the Zephyr. Like it's insane how much they do that, but they still work the entire way through, and you always want to see them get back to each other. It's great.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree, and I think this is a trope in a lot of like TV shows. The like, we'll always find each other, like we will always find our way back. But I think this, you are right. There's one of the best versions to do that shit, because even when they're apart, you do feel their love, and you still feel like it feels like they are not apart, like they're still fighting to get back to each other. And I think like even in season 7, when it was very frustrating that Fitz was just gone, you still kind of felt his presence in the show.
No, you
did.
Like he was still an integral part of the season.
Yeah, 100%. I think they do that so well. Their chemistry is also just so amazing, and their journey from season 1 to season 7. Just put Simmons out of it. She has a great journey too, but Fitz's journey from season 1 to season 5 alone, to season 1 through 5, is insane. And what he was willing to do for Gemma and his journey to become stronger, to get better. He invented time travel for this woman.
Time travel.
It's crazy.
Insane.
And then their wedding is absolutely gorgeous, and seeing them have the kids in the final, or find out they have a kid in the final episode is so good. And I love season 6 is probably my least favorite from the show, but like that scene when they're like stuck in the bunker and you have all the villains kind of coming in to get them.
You had like the doctor and the evil Gemma when was trapped in the box.
That scene was so good. I think they do such a good job at like writing arguments with characters where they both have so much pent up anger and feelings for one each other, and they just needed to get it out. It's because I love you. Like all the building to that moment is so beautiful. And these are 100% like some of the best writing for a couple I've ever seen in TV, for sure.
I think in terms of Marvel, like they're the best.
Oh,
like I know you've got like Peter Parker, Mary Jane, and all that, but I think they're the best. Fitzsimmons.
Well, I think currently in the MCU, like there's not any. Like there's not. There
isn't really, is there?
Like every couple, like you had your MJ, but she got her memory wiped, and you had the Black Panther stuff, but that obviously they had to kind of get rid of that. And you had Iron Man, but he's dead now. Like there's not a currently there's not like a big ship. Daredevil might be the one show to actually. We have a ship now. Here you go.
Because there's a brand new character that Matt's with in Daredevil, which means he's just bouncing around, I guess, from people. Because like coming straight off of She-Hulk.
But like they're both currently. I mean, I guess how you think about it, I guess
they're in the 50s. So
I guess you could say they're together if you want to look at it like that. But depending on where you're at, but Peggy's dead either way, right? Like there's no way that she's alive.
Yeah, we saw her die in Civil War.
Yeah, but then I wonder how the MCU timeline works with that. Like I still don't know how that works.
I think she'd still probably die of old age around then, because if it seemed like she died of old age, kind of. Oh no, I guess unless they bring in Captain Carter, do something with that. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, my next pick is Raymond and Kevin from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Are you a Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan? You haven't seen it, right?
I've seen every Michael Schur show except for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I need to watch it.
Oh, Connor,
I need to catch it.
It's so good. No, Brooklyn,
I will get to it. I will.
I did Brooklyn, I think it was like 2021 into 2020. No, I finished it last year and I started in 2022. Absolutely fell in love with Brooklyn. Raymond Holt has become one of my favorite fictional characters in fiction. Love Raymond. And like I said, I love seeing healthy relationships in fiction. But I also love like queer love in fiction as well. And I think those two don't often meet eye to eye. I feel like a lot. Like it feels like a lot of the relationships in fiction, if you're telling like queer stories, they're always young. They're always young people who have it's their coming out. It's their first love. And Raymond and Kevin are like almost this golden standard for like what love can be. They're just in a healthy marriage when we start the show, and they do kind of, they do end up breaking up in the final season, and the whole final season is kind of about them kind of getting back together and trying to find that love again. And how they told that story is amazing. I've talked about Raymond Holt a lot. I'm pretty sure I've talked about a couple times on this channel on what that character I think has meant for like the queer world, and how they write the characters. And shout out to Andre Bowers, who recently passed away over the last couple months. He was such a, I think that character did a lot for a lot of people. But no, I love their marriage. I love them getting remarried towards the end of the show. And there's a couple like ships from the show, like Amy and like I could have done the like main ship from the show if I wanted to, because they are also really, really good. But I was like, I think I do slightly like this one more, and I think it did mean a lot to me. So I had to throw them in there. Although Kevin isn't in the show very much, so it was hard to find photos that would fit of the two of them. So I was like, I'll just put a side-by-side shot.
Valid.
He's only a reoccurring character, not a series regular, so it was hard.
That's the guy from The Good Place, isn't it?
I think he's in a lot of those shows. I think he's in The Office as well, maybe, possibly. I'm not sure. Or no, Parks and Recs, is it? I don't know.
I think he's in Parks and Rec. Yeah,
Parks and Recs. Okay, this is the only show in that guy's work that I've seen. So we have opposite experiences.
Parks and Rec is great. I think you'd love Parks and Rec.
I think I would too. It's long, right? It's like
it's 7 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't start another long show. I'm doing Walking Dead currently. I can't start another long show.
And it's great.
I've been in the middle of Walking Dead and Doctor Who, which are both like very long.
Yeah, Doctor Who's long. What, 14 seasons? Jeez.
Yeah, we're on 14. But apparently I can just jump in now, so I might just...
You can, yeah. You
can. We have Han and Leia, which I'm very glad you picked like a classic one. All of our other ones are more
that's the thing,
kind of
they
modern.
are a classic one.
Yeah. Thoughts on Han and Leia?
I just love the dynamic. Like it's a very like 1970s Hollywood style kind of dynamic between them, that like you don't really see a whole lot like this today in films or in TV, where it's like the very, I don't know, stereotypical like princess, and then the like gunslinging plays by his own rules sort of
Rebel,
guy, you know? Yeah, literally, Rebel. But I think it's just I really like Force Awakens, but I feel like we didn't see enough of the two of them in Force Awakens. Whereas, but what we get of the two of them in Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi is great. Like that moment when Leia tells Han that Luke's her brother, and then you see like Han kind of go through the motions in his head right after the Death Star blew up on Endor. It's just a great moment. And I think everything between them and Empire Strikes Back is fantastic. Like when they're on the Falcon and it goes into the that big comet worm thing that's like stuck in there, like it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great pick. Like they definitely aren't anywhere near my list, but I also think like when you think of like classic TV couples, or I guess movie couples, right? Han and Leia are definitely one you think of first, and their journey through those movies and their legacy, I guess, through the sequels are also kind of fun to watch. And yeah, fun.
It is fun.
I don't have any final thoughts on this one, but if you have any other...
I'm just always going to be upset we don't see more of the two. Like we didn't get a follow-up Solo, and we're not really getting a crazy amount of follow-ups to like the other stuff with that, because I would like to see the other versions of those characters from like younger. I know they don't meet until A New Hope, but I think there's a lot of potential to see a lot of the gaps like between the movies, between those characters.
Sure. Solo 2 or something. I can a giant time jump. Alrighty. My next one is Sun and Jin from Lost. I was like, I need to talk about Lost one of these days on here, because I finished it last year, I think. I love Lost. It's become one of my favorite shows. I talked to you good about it while I was kind of going through the show. And Lost is a very weird show when it comes to ships. Like, I think the main ships are always very, very weird. The main love triangle is weird.
Hate Jack and Sawyer.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Like Sawyer doesn't get good until he gets with a Juliet, I think. But like, no, Sun and Jin's journey through the first season through season 5 or 6, but like their journey through all the seasons are, I think, gorgeous, and they're watching their journey was such a roller coaster. Obviously, starting where Jin started in season 1 as this like almost abusive husband that doesn't trust his wife, who doesn't trust any of the other crew. I mean, just Jin's journey through the show is unbelievably good. But seeing him like rework his marriage with Sun, and learning with the group, and then we had the whole like pregnancy story with Sun, and not knowing who the father was and all of that stuff, to them getting separated, doing that like I'll find you thing with him. And I think even in the moment where like this might be a little silly of how they went about it, but like seeing them like reunite on the beach after like a season and a half apart from one another was one of my favorite moments from the entire show. And it's like, I mean, just finding out Jin was alive, because like that was a bit I was kind of having with myself of like, yeah, he clearly died here, but he's alive. He has to be alive. I'm not accepting his death, even if I know for certain he's dead. And he wasn't dead. He popped up again like a season and a half later. It's like, yes, it's so good. Yeah, I love them. And also like their death, they ended up like dying as a kind of like a couple towards the end. And I think their final moments together was one of my favorite final moment season, like of the final season. Like it's gorgeous. I was heartbroken when we had to say goodbye to these characters, but gorgeous. It was a gorgeous couple. I love some of my favorite characters from Lost. Do you have any opinions on this? It's been a while, right? Since you've seen Lost?
I watched Lost in 2016. So what's that, 8 years? It's been a minute. But I can kind of only remember like the big moments. I do really want to rewatch Lost though, and I rewatched the first 4 episodes, I think, last summer, and I was like, ooh, I'll get back to this, and I never did. So I'm going to rewatch it. When I do, I'll have updated opinions on this, because like I can remember the characters, I can't remember a crazy amount. But
that's fair. Yeah, I loved Lost. It was, it was one of those shows where I was just kind of waiting for it to get to a point where people didn't like it, and I just never got to that point. I was like, I love every season of the show. The final season ended up being one of my favorite seasons of the show. So yeah, I love Lost. I've been edging to like do it again as well. We did Fringe to kind of cope with Lost being over. We're like, Fringe is similar in vein, and it's been getting really good actually. Like where we're at currently is like very good. But like I still have that special place with Lost, where it's like it doesn't get me to the place I was excited to watch Lost every week.
Yeah. I remember being really into it when I was watching through it, and I was like, I kind of felt the same. Whereas I think my enjoyment of it kind of dipped a little bit as I was going along, but I do remember kind of never feeling like it was nearly as bad as you hear. I was like, I don't think this is like, I think it's still a really strong show, like the whole way through.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it also helps that I didn't have the internet's like opinion. Like I had no one else's opinion on the show but mine. I saw nothing else. I was really able to just kind of have fun with it without like a whole audience being like, but this doesn't work. Oh, but this doesn't make sense. Or be like, oh, this character should have been done this way. Like it was all kind of and I definitely didn't love everything in the final season. Like there are just certain characters, the way they went out was like, Saeed's death scene was kind of lame, or like what they did with this character was kind of lame. But overall, I just loved the show. Like I think it'll probably forever be in my favorite show list. And I think our final ship here, if I'm not mistaken, is Jimmy and Kim. I was kind of shocked to see this one on your list, because I feel like all the other ships on this list are incredibly like positive and healthy,
good for each other.
And this one feels like the opposite of that.
I mean, Jimmy and Kim, like they literally say, Kim says to Jimmy in like the last episode where they're probably together, it's like, it's like we're not good for each other sort of thing. Like that's the thing, it's one of this list that's kind of tragic, where it's like it doesn't end good for either of them really. Like I mean, I guess spoilers for Better Call Saul for anybody who hasn't seen it. But Jimmy ends up in prison. Kim's whole life is ruined pretty much. Like she's living this life where she's kind of like, I don't want to say a shell of herself, but she's lost a lot of her life because of what went down between her and Jimmy. So it's like they've ruined each other. They destroyed each other. It's like, I mean, Jimmy was going down that path anyway. He was going to end up being Saul with or without Kim. I feel like, I feel like honestly, she might have held him back for the longest time, because it was only when she was gone, when she walked out, that he finally fully became Saul and fully became what we saw in Breaking Bad. But I think when we have the two of them, like those middle seasons from seasons 3, 4, and 5 until Lalo really comes into the scene, they're so good. They're so good. Like when they're running those scams, like with like they're just like really rich people meeting them in restaurants and stuff, and like running tiny little scams on them where they just get like free dinners or whatever out of them. It's just so good, and you can tell how great they are. Like the season 4 final, no, it's the season 5 final, when Kim just does the at the end of it, and like Jimmy's like, oh, so she's very similar to me, sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's like I think they're too similar to each other, and that's probably what caused everything to kind of spiral out of control the way it did. And Jimmy definitely, she did not deserve Jimmy, but I just think it's fantastic. They're like the two greatest parts of that show, in my opinion. I think it's insane that Rhea never won an Emmy for her portrayal as Kim,
absurd
because she, everyone's good in that show. I think she is the strongest in that show. I think she's the best part of it. Like, one of the greatest additions to Breaking Bad universe. I would actually say she's probably my favorite character in the Breaking Bad universe.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I think they're great. Just tragic, definitely very different to everybody else on this list.
Yeah, Kim was always a lot of fun to kind of explore through the show, because she is like non-existent during the Breaking Bad era of the show.
You're always expecting the worst because of that.
Yeah, you're like kind of waiting for her to Jimmy to kill her or something, or like something bad to happen. She gets caught in like a drug, something, something happened to her, and you're waiting for that moment to drop. And it's very hard to kind of like, that wait is very hard, because you do love him, or Jamie and Kim's back and forth. Like, it is so much fun to watch, and you're like, this can't work. This physically cannot work, because Saul has a place where he has to end up, and Kim can't be there for that. So what happens with them? But each season, it seems like they get stronger and stronger and stronger until it just breaks. Like, what is it that
she's like, we love each other, but so what? And then that's it. It's over.
And there's that scene, what is it, season 4, where they're arguing, they're like at the point of breaking up, and they're just like, but what, or we can get married.
Yeah,
and it's like,
what's next?
What? No, you break up, you don't get married.
Yeah, it's like, and the only reason they got married was so that she couldn't testify against Jimmy. Like, it's insane. Like, it's just constantly trying to get around some scam or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Every time I rewatch the show, it's like, they're the best thing about it. I'm like, another world could have worked out, but not in this one.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Yeah, I'm a good choice, not one that I would have thought of, but that's a really good, it's a very good choice. Are there any that like you didn't mention that like you would like to talk about?
I mean,
go for it.
Oliver and Sarah doesn't really a lot of people don't like Oliver and Sarah together, but I think that I think that the two of them in season 2 is the strongest relationship Oliver has had, I think. But I understand that it's not. Sarah with Ava is better, but for Oliver, I think 100%. That was the real, like, they work together one that I saw.
I think it was the one that I enjoyed the most. Even though I think there is the controversy of like, they did cheat on each other with Laurel, right? Like and that part of it, and it was very interesting seeing kind of where Sarah went. Like, she started the show as like the one that cheated on her on her sister's boyfriend, and then she went from that to getting her own show. I feel like that's a very bad pitch for a character. Be like, hey, do you want to watch a cheater get her own series? But most of us still loved her, and it was very fun to kind of see that kind of go.
Brayden.
I also just realized I completely forgot my final choice here.
Oh, what was your final choice?
And I was trying to figure out, because I had like the main ones I wanted to choose. I was going through all of my TV shows and which ones I wanted to choose. I went with Thea and Roy from Arrow.
I completely forgot about them.
Loved Thea and Roy. They were, for me, some of the highlights of those early seasons of Arrow, those first 3 seasons. Roy's my favorite character on Arrow, and I think Roy made Thea a better and more interesting character, and I think they both helped and improved each other. Forgive that third photo there. I couldn't find another one, but but no, I love them, and him coming back in season 6 and having that two-parter was so heartbreaking for just Thea. I think Thea at that point was they just lost what they wanted to do with Thea. I think and kind of bringing Roy back in and
I think Willa kind of wanted to go at that point, and they were like, "What do we do?"
Yeah, and then I think having Roy and Thea kind of go off on their own separate journey to do with like Nissa and stuff like that, that was almost more interesting to me than the current season itself, what they were doing on the show at that time. I was like, I would kind of rather a spinoff by this point with just those guys. And then I think
Renee ran at Oliver the week prior with a hatchet, and then it was this.
And then I think just like how they ended those two characters was like one of the highlights to the final episode of Arrow, with them finally getting together officially. And I actually think they did that very well, because I often feel like when a love interest leaves a show, then they're like, okay, now we need to find someone else for Thea to be with, and she does for a moment. But I think Roy being out of the show so long and them still being able to make that full circle moment where they are still a thing at the very end, thought they did that very well, and I was very happy with that.
That's a really good pick. I didn't think of that, because I was trying to think of like an Arrowverse one to put in to my main one, but I was like, I don't think there's an Arrowverse one that I like as much as these four. But no, that's a good pick, Thea and Roy.
In the future, maybe we can do just Arrowverse ones or something, where we pick out the best of just the Arrowverse. I think could be fun. Since we do have a couple minutes at the end here, I can bring up this article that had come out right before we started the stream. I thought we were going to save it for next week, but I was like, we got a couple minutes left here. So Daredevil Born Again is currently still listed as a 2024 release in Disney's updated release schedule. So this had come out yesterday, about kind of like, you had the updated for like Moana 2, and you had King Dynasty still set for 2026. So Daredevil was originally supposed to come out in 2024. Originally, with the main plan, Echo was supposed to be last year, and Daredevil was supposed to lead into this year. Do you think Daredevil is still going to make its date of 2024, or do you think we're looking at 2025 or even at 2026?
I'm so confused on what they're doing with the because like apparently now they're keeping certain episodes, like they're reshooting the first 3, and then they're keeping certain episodes after that. Which, if that's the case, this probably means they're like halfway done filming already if it's 13 episodes. Not halfway done, but like a quarter of the way done maybe. Plus they're not going to need a whole lot of CGI or VFX or stuff like that for this. I think like a really late 2024 release could be possible, like maybe like a Book of Boba Fett thing where it comes out in December. You get a few episodes before the end of the year, but then the guts of the show is out next year. Or if they want to like do that split up thing where it's like the first 5 episodes or so are this year, the next like 7 are next year. I could see it debuting this year. I think that the fact that it's on the schedule is a good sign, and I also think Marvel Studios are probably worried about what their lineup is for this year. I think they're probably like, what do we have? What other than Deadpool 3, is there anything we're putting out that's really selling our lineup for this year? And I think Daredevil is a good thing to have for that.
I would love it if it still came out sometime this year. I think I would almost rather next year, just to kind of let them take their time a little bit with it. Agree. Like, I don't want, let's push it out for this year. Everything we've been hearing has been really, really good. I still think there's a world where it can be bad, especially if they're combining like little bits of new and little bits of old. That's concerning to me. I'd personally rather, and I understand if you want to save money by combining them. I understand that. But it is concerning. There's a lot of people that does like, Karen's going to die. She's only in 3 episodes. And I'm just like, maybe,
I'm really worried about that. Yeah. I feel like that I'm annoyed because I'm seeing so much stuff in terms of, I feel like I know everything about the first 3 episodes because of how much is being leaked, like in terms of filming. But I'm also like, if Karen and Foggy are only in the first 3 and they're keeping the next episodes the same, maybe they're not dying off screen anymore. Maybe they're dying on screen.
Like, which is still better. But
you brought that up actually, like a few weeks ago, that you were thinking that. I was like, they wouldn't do that. But now I'm like, maybe they would. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm still nervous for. I'm still very excited for what they're doing. Like all the set photos we're seeing, and that all sounds very exciting. But I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting time. But like I could see like a December or something where they put this out. It's like a Christmas. First 3 episodes are on Christmas or something, and then
Because yeah, I got those like August, isn't it? And then
fall. It's fall.
Fall. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this could be winter then. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. It'd be kind of fun. But yeah, we'll have to just wait and see, I guess. But with that being said, we're heading towards the end of our stream here. I didn't think that we were going to make it. I was like, we have a lot to talk about, and I think we zoomed through it mostly pretty quickly. Connor, thank you for joining us.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. It's always a pleasure. Connor, do you have anything that you want to shout out and promo?
I gotta get stuff out. I keep meaning to. I keep meaning to make some more stuff. I'm going to, but yeah. Keep an eye out just on the channel, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see next week. Definitely next week.
Next week, something coming out.
Yeah.
And yeah. And for me, I think this is it for me. We're taking I've talked about it on some other stuff. Taking a little bit of a break. Like there's no Monday stream currently. Not over on the pipeline right now, or not pipeline. I'm not over on Party Nation at the moment. Kind of taking a break, but we'll be back next week as we rank the Spider-Man movie villains leading up to Madam Web coming out. I know she's not an official Marvel villain, but she typically is like a Spider-Man villain, so I thought it was in theme of the Spider-Mans.
So for that, are we doing like live action and the Spider-Verse films? Are we doing like Spider-Verse, MCU, the Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man 1 to 3?
Any villain that's been in like a Spider-Man film.
Okay, so would you kind of like Venom from Venom? And like Morbius?
I don't think I would, no.
Okay, interesting.
All right. We can talk about that later, though.
That sounds good.
But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, everyone that was in the chat today. Barry White was here the whole stream. Thank you, Barry White. Red Arrow was here. We had a bunch of fun people in the chat. But without further ado, you guys, I will see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.